Hey everyone, it's Mary. It's Mary. I've just landed here in Southern California from Idaho, where I was out visiting my grandkids. And now here I am with my next set of grandkids and in sunny Southern California. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mary Lynch with Braving Midlife, and this is called the Midlife Journal. So, what can you get out of spending 20 minutes of time with yourself, working on yourself, kind of just letting things flow? Like there's no judgment, there's never any criticism. It's what can you get out of this next 20 minutes that we're going to spend together. I'm going to set my timer so that I don't end up going over. I like to really stay on point when I'm journaling each and every Sunday. This is what I do. So I thought that I would bring you along with just the way that I think about reflecting on my past week, some of the questions that I ask myself. How can I get better? How can I be better? How can I step toward or forward into this life, this world, this dream, this way of being that I have for myself. So I hope that this helps for you. You can let me know in the comments what you think about this. So today is about inviting change, like kind of just asking change. Like what's up? Where's this fear coming from? Or where is the excitement coming from? What am I excited about moving toward? What am I fearful about leaving behind? We can look at change either way as, oh my gosh, you can look at change as a loss of a way that you were. For instance, in 2003, I sold my first business, and I had had that business for 8 years. And the business kind of defined who I was. At least that's how I packaged myself. So I had, in a sense, like put myself in this box of that's who I was. That's how I defined myself. That's how I introduced myself. And in 2003, after having the business for 8 years, I finally sold it. And I was very excited about it because I knew about all of the possibilities that were going to unfold. However, it brought up so much fear and doubt about who am I without this business? Who am I without this identity? So as I reflect on these things, I want to call this forth for you too, so that you'll have an opportunity in a relaxed way. You're not being pressured. You're not feeling like you have to like create or do anything. This is just you and I together, pen and paper out to think about possibilities, to think about change, to think about who we are in the scheme of life and what we want to call forth. So, as I mentioned about me selling my business, some of my most memorable trips, for instance, some of my most memorable conversations, interactions, um, and relationships, like some of my best and most cherished friendships are those that I made when I least expected them, or mm, when I wasn't anticipating or had an expected outcome. So I was just hanging out. I was just being present. I was inviting something new into my life. And sometimes I think that when we want to make change, we put so much pressure on ourselves to make it perfect, to um I often talk about the big hairy scary goal. Like when we're trying to reach something that sometimes we don't even have belief in, that these all of these thoughts come flooding into us of, you know, not enoughness, this isn't for me, all of this. However, I look at that as that big hairy scary goal. And what if we are just looking at inviting change for change's sake? That we are inviting something new into our life without the expectation of what's going to happen on the other side. How can you lead yourself through change without having any drama, without having any backstory, without circumventing the richness that this change is providing? So today, as you grab your pen and paper, I'm going to ask a series of questions for you to ponder. For me, pondering, when I say that word ponder, for me, that is the time that I get to take a break, that I get to dream, a daydream even, that I get to just think about things and where my mind might take me without judgment and without criticism, because there's no place for that here. This isn't the time for that. Let me just say, this isn't the time for that. You can you can do that stuff at another time. But today, Sundays, during our midlife journal, let's look at questions that can help you to wonder, that can help you to go, well, if I could do that, then this might unfold. Or if I actually reach out to this person that I wanted to, then maybe this could happen. So I'm just inviting you to think about change in a different way without asking yourself the what if, which is also, I mean, it's always and also a great question to ask, like what if this happened? What if the outcome was this? But today, let's kind of think about a series of questions that can help you to wonder and ponder about inviting change into your life. So let's see where this goes. So I want you to think of questions as an invitation to reflect on any given situation. It doesn't matter if it's a conversation, a situation, uh, uh, a dream, a goal. I just want you to reflect and just kind of let your mind wander, because that's what journaling is all about, is just letting your mind wander. So when thinking about change, focus on one thing that you would like to change, whether it's about yourself, about a situation, certainly not another person, because we're not in control of changing another person. We are only in control of changing ourselves. So if you start looking outside yourself for the answer, rein it back in because the answer ain't there. So write down on your paper one thing that you'd like to change. It could be where you live. It could be a relationship that you have. It could be the car that you drive. It could be the work that you do. What is one thing that you would like to change? It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be this big, hairy, scary thing, because that's not, those take planning. Those take guidance. I think that when I've attempted to do big, hairy, scary things, it's always been with a mentor or a coach to help guide me and hold me accountable. So when I do these thought processes of what is one thing that I want to change about my life, it's something that's tangible, something that I can measure, something that I can see, because I like to champion my wins. I like to be able to see, check a box. Oh, I did that. Right. So what is one thing in your life that you'd like to change? One thing. Now, for if that thing were to change, what would a successful outcome look like? What would it look like? Not necessarily feel like, but what would, if you could stand outside yourself? I talk about this a lot in my coaching with my clients, as well as in my workshops. If you could step outside yourself, like, I often say, look down at yourself. What would this change look like? And describe it. Clarity is key. And as you allow yourself to get more clear, you actually open up a whole world of possibilities. And that's why I want to guide you through these questions. So what would a successful outcome look like to that change that you wish to manifest? The outcome. What does it look like? Now, if you are looking at yourself, how does this change, or does this change fill you with energy? Because certainly, if we are going through change and it's nothing but dragging us down or making us tired or feeling burdensome or heavy or just a lot, then maybe it's time to view this change in a different way. So does this change when, if you step into it? Are you filled with energy? And can you feel that energy in your body somewhere? It will show up somewhere, and that will help to guide you in the direction of it. Question number 3. If you knew without a doubt that you would succeed in manifesting this change, would you do it? You know, I ask this question because sometimes when as we change, as we grow, as we become a better version of ourselves, it actually brings up a lot of fear for the people around us that are still stuck, that are staying where they are, and they see we moving toward something that we say that we want. And being around people like that, that are pulling us back, holding on to us because of their fears, then sometimes we throw in the towel. So if we are if we're writing about inviting change, then if everything was laid out for you and all you had to do was step into this change, would you do it? And how do you feel about that? Question 4, what positive outcomes are waiting for you on the other side of this change? Positive outcomes. And those outcomes could be for you, it could be for your family, it could be for the people around you, it could be for your community, the world. What positive, it could be for your bank account, for instance, in launching a business or changing careers. What positive change is on the other side, or what positive outcome is on the other side of this change? Now, because the world is full of checks and balances, we can't talk about that without talking about this. Question number 5. What would or could happen if you decide not to move forward? What may or may not happen because you are overcome with fear, doubt, shame, guilt, embarrassment, looking at the other people around you that love to keep you right where you are? What is the outcome for you? Not for anybody else, because we're not talking about them. We're talking about if you don't step into this next best version of yourself, if you decide not to invite this change, what do you get out of that? Because if you decide not to invite the change, there's something that you're getting out of it. Like there's something that you get for staying stuck. And it's kind of a roundabout or a different way of looking at it. But for you to stay where you are and decide not to invite change into your life, you're getting something out of that. Maybe it's a story. Maybe it's the other people around you get to be more comfortable. You know, whatever it is for you. What do you get out of staying right where you are? And number 6, what action or thought process has contributed to your successes in the past? And for those of you that think that you have never done anything successful, well, that's just a bullshit story. So let me ask this question again. What action or thought process has contributed to your success in the past. So if you look at something that you've done, it doesn't matter. It could be something that happened this morning, something that happened yesterday, something that happened 5 years from now, 15 years from 15 years ago. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. It could be when you graduated high school. It could be when you learned to ride a bike. It doesn't, just a success. You don't have to share this with anybody. So don't like get freaked out that the success is not big enough. It's not good enough. It's good enough. Trust me, it's good enough. What action or thought process led to that success? So again, if you step outside yourself and you take yourself back to that moment of success, whatever it is, your first job, your first raise, your first child, your first marriage, or your third marriage, in my case, that's my success. There was something about you that was different in that moment that allowed for that change to happen. And if you step outside of yourself and you kind of do a flashback, take a step in a time capsule and take a step back to that moment, and you have an out of body experience and look back down on yourself, I will guarantee you that there is a way that you were behaving, that you were standing, that you were being, that you were believing in that moment. In that moment. So write about that. An action or a thought process that contributed to one success that you had in the past. And if you want to take that a step further and take a look at several other successes that you've had in your life, because what I know is that you've had many successes in your life. So no bullshit stories. If you could list them on a piece of paper, maybe 5 of them. Again, out of body experience. Who was I being in that moment? How did I show up? What did I know to be true about myself in that moment? That's where all the magic lies, right there. So have a great time journaling today. Just let your pen flow on the paper. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you never miss anything that happens here over at the Braving Midlife Mary Lynch YouTube platform. And I can't wait to hear what you are uncovering about yourself as you midlife journal. Ciao for now.